Hi guys, I'm Andres Sandbir and you are on the Building Digital Product podcast where we're talking about the practical technologies here and today. I have a guest today. His name is Steve Smith, the CEO and founder of BaseCap Analytics, company that focus on data analysis in the highly regulated industries like banking and insurance. And as I know, today they are spreadly using AI to improve, analyze, and help you to deal with your data. So hi Steve, how are you?
Hi, Andre. Pleasure to be here. I'm well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much for joining us today and thank you for spending time with us. As I mentioned, your company is working on the data industry and it's already been, 11 years since BaseCap exists. Please tell me what exactly have changed from the moment you have started and right now. Right now we have AI hype, and I don't believe it's hype actually. I think it's going to last longer. But what's the difference? What's the difference from 11 years ago and now?
Yeah, no, I think, and thank you so much for having me on the show. It's a pleasure to be here. A lot has changed in many ways, and in some ways, not so much. So I would say that when I started probably almost a decade ago, the big focus was on single source of data, getting all your information into one place so decisions could be driven in an organization from that one single silo. And I think over the last decade, I've seen more organizations move away from being very rigid with that approach. They're still trying to derive decision making from consolidated data and good sources of data. However, the definition of everything must be in this one single database versus maybe it can be in these five sources for five different types of decisions that you're trying to make. There seems to be a little bit more flex on how things are being driven, how the solution looks, and it's more of a fabric approach, I would say, versus a hard and fast everything must be in a relational database catalog to
Okay.
data model standards.
So you tell that before it was like, we have one access Microsoft or whatever people used 11 years ago, and right now like everyone fine, this is in the Google Cloud, this is one on the database, and this is just that lady on the third floor, remember, right? So that's okay for nowadays businesses, right?
Yeah, I think that's been the major change that we're seeing in terms of, yep, maybe we'll have some data in the cloud. We'll also have our on-prem data sources, right? There's much more of a hybrid of approach. How do you bring all this data together? And I would say there's more of a focus on the business case, the understanding of what you're trying to do with that data up front versus just trying to store data for the sake of storing data.
You know what? How it sounds for me? Is it fair to tell that before it, like business was driven more by technology, or better to say, yeah, business was driven more by technology. Like you have this database and you need to use it like it's stated, and then you adapt your business under that. And right now, people just more doing business, and now technology is supposed to adapt under the process, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always been a level of what consumers expect and what they have in their day to day is what ends up driving a lot of enterprise demand from end users. So you think about it, the concept of like a Facebook for a while, right? A way to speak and connect with different people in the world, right? That drives a need in the enterprise or a desire, right, to be able to speak with different employees. So Slack, right? Different types of ways of just being able to interact and get work done. Very much with what's happening with GPT, Chat GPT as an example. If your employees have access to certain technologies on their phone and they think it'll help them do their job easier, that drives demand within the enterprise to change to then, hey, how do we get a GPT or a Chat GPT type of a solution within my enterprise, right? That tends to drive those demands quicker. And honestly, if it's available on your phone, folks expect them to be available in the organization relatively.
Okay, so I can imagine that some Zoomer, as they call, come into the organization, and most of them using, I don't know what do we use, TikTok, for example, and they're like, okay, guys, how about we use it and the work? And now you need to adapt to that. So before you're supposed to tell everyone using I don't know, Windows and Microsoft. Now, in case people come in with the TikTok, now we need to use the TikTok and we need to find a way, right?
Yeah, I mean that's if you look at the social media trends, right? It's a marketing,
Okay.
it's a marketing approach, right? It's the same thing. You have to be on the platforms where your customers are because that's ultimately how you reach them.
Okay, just in case for our listeners, I understand that TikTok most probably not used in the business scenarios. It's just something that associated me with Zoomer. That's it. Okay, what is the oldest technology you used to work with? I don't know. Tell me, what's the oldest, the most dinosaur that you remember that you personally worked with? Just curious.
I think I wouldn't say it's dinosaur. Like I actually find I think all technology there's a level of beauty in it, right?
Okay.
If you're dealing with limits of if it's a some sort of COBOL based approach where there's memory limits and there's different nuances, right, that come down to the design and the engineering to make sure that you optimize for memory usage. Like that's a beautiful thing in certain ways, right? There's a lot of logic that went into the solution. There's a lot of thought that went into it. Many organizations, and I think most when you deal with technology, you don't always think about it like this, but enterprise technology and success in enterprise is really about adoption of the technology. If the business is using the technology, it's successful, it's driving value for the organization. And that is really difficult to do within organizations. So when you would, as an organization, you adopt some sort of technology, and it could be something that's old, but it's been working for 20 years, let's say, there is a significant cost to switch away from it. So when you get into the enterprise, most of the time it's about, and again, going back to that fabric approach I was talking about data and silos of data, this is one of the reasons why data tends to live in multiple places, and you can never really truly reach, I would say, that single source of truth. It's because these organizations have made investments into different technologies, and guess what? The business is going to be stuck on that technology for some time. So we see COBOL-based platforms, we see mainframe-based sources of information regularly, and I would say it's actually very rare that we see an organization that doesn't have some what would be called legacy technology out there. Almost all of them in the enterprise have it, and it's just a sort of a fact of dealing in the space.
Okay, with your answer, you just actually born two other questions, but to make people more not too confused, let me ask you, and we will come back to those questions. I won't forget them. So tell us more about your company. What exactly you are doing? Okay, like in case people are listening to us, what you can propose to them, and maybe someone will come. So yeah, tell us more, please.
Sure. So BaseCap's mission is to help organizations make better business decisions, and that's by improving the quality and the accuracy of the information organizations rely on. So folks can think of us as a data quality solution, where we ensure that all the data that's going through the pipes is accurate and can be used, whether it's a compliance need, whether it's a decisioning need. So for example, can we make a loan to that person? Do they provide all of the required documentation, the information required to actually action and make the loan? After the loan's been made, did the client properly record the loan in the system? Because if it's not properly recorded, then statements and all of the billing components that have to happen after the close of the loan, they have to make sure that these things are accurate and right, and all of that is really data. So if you think about any business process where data is flowing through the pipes and the business is critically reliant on the accuracy of that data to be successful, that's business that BaseCap can help with. That's where our product and our technology can help with. So primarily in financial services right now, but the platform is agnostic and applicable to really any data set out there.
Okay, let me restate if I understood it right. So is it actually matter what kind of technology that company using, or it doesn't matter? So basically, because based on your previous answer, as you answered, there are no dinosaur technology, which is actually I agree with too. I mean, the technology must just fit a business need, but isn't matter what kind of the technical previously solution company using, or your company can, I don't know, analyze that and then find the adoption solution to continue with that.
Yeah. Realistically, it's any data source that we can connect with. So it can be SQL
Wow.
Server database tables, it can be flat files, it can be Excel spreadsheets, really. We have a number of different connectors we support, but the whole idea behind BaseCap and our approach is really any data source, you can look for quality issues within it, and you can look at them in near real time, so that way your business is aware of those problems, and we help you to solve them.
Any limit of the database dimensions? I mean, in the sense, or volume of database, better to say, like big, small, whatever.
That's the secret of our technology, and that's why people choose to work with us. It's because we've figured
Okay.
that problem out, so folks don't have to reinvent it themselves.
Okay. Well, now I'm turning back to the question that actually appeared in my head, which is not on the plan, but still interesting to know your opinion. So, you mentioned that there are no dinosaur technology, and this is something you rarely can hear from someone who are technical. I mean, I work a lot with the developers, and they usually don't like to work with something that in the real world called legacy. However, you mentioned that I mean, in case that work for the business, you still need to work with that sometime, and I agree with that, because in the end of the day, everything we're doing is supposed to be business driven and somehow applicable. How do you think? How long it's, well, that's kind of abstract, but still, how long it's okay to stay with the same technology for a company, and how to understand that point when you actually need to change it, like when you understand, okay, it's better to invest into changing that, otherwise everything will fall down like tomorrow and we will spend even more, when this a change point makes sense, how to understand that.
To be more specific, I would say that there aren't any dinosaur technologies, especially if they're adopted and providing value for the business. It doesn't mean everyone likes to work with them. So that is a nuance. The technology could provide value for the business, but it can be very painful for certain individuals in an organization to maintain, right? But that doesn't mean that there's not value for the business. So there's just that balance component I think is important. I'm a big believer in innovation all the time. I do think organizations should be testing new technologies. I'm a big advocate of prototyping and being able to test in iterative ways, because to your point, you don't really know, right, what other technologies, if there's a more modern approach that can have a big lift for your business or benefit, if you're not out there exploring new technologies. So I think that's the other side of it, is you may be leveraging some technology that's been around forever. However, it doesn't mean, okay, I've checked the box, I've got a solution that's working, now I don't need to do anything and I need to be asleep at the wheel. I think it's the opposite. It's actually in some ways harder, because it's not a problem that is keeping you up at night, right? Things are running in the background. You need to be diligent, and I think that's what makes the greatest businesses even greater, are the organizations that are able to challenge status quo and look for and be able to invest in innovations and growing out a tech stack, as an example, in a way where you don't absolutely need to do it necessarily today, but if you're a company or a business that's able to make those investments and to grow and iterate, that's how you stay ahead. That's how you drive competitive advantage and you beat out the competition. So I think it's a big competitive advantage if you're able to iterate and test and then roll out technologies. You're a whole step ahead of everyone else out there in the industry typically.
Okay, so if I restate your words in shortly, that would be like your ability to iterate and update the technology over the time. It's actually the big advantages. So it's, as far as I know from my experience, it's wrong to stick to something that is already 20 years old, but being able to update it constantly, in the end of the day, make you a better company, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, another question about the AI. I mean, everyone talking, and we talk a bit about that. So in my experience and in my company, we already developed something most close to what you're doing. We used to develop the forecasting solution for the mid-bank system, and AI helped us. I can't tell how exactly, but in the end of the day, AI helped us to build the right forecasting for banks to hedge their risks. Can you give me a few examples how you are using AI, maybe with some kind of the specific technologies, as as detailed as it possible to due to all NDAs and everything else, like in your industry? Maybe some examples that would be nice.
So first and foremost, I'm a big believer in AI isn't your product unless you're an AI infrastructure company. There are companies that are out there, so it may be some folks' business, right? But if you're like us, right, we started as a data quality company. Do we have AI? Have we always had AI? Yes. But there's a level of, we don't have proprietary AI that we're bringing to market. So when you take a step back, it's what foundationally do you do that is better than the rest or unique or specific, right? What's your secret sauce? To me, when you understand that, you can then apply AI to make that even better. So my view is the most exciting thing about the recent Gen AI stuff that's come out is it's the usability, right? It's the ease of use that non-technical users can have. And it's a new interface where folks can, if you can send a text, you can interact with, a fairly complex, data quality platform as an example, right? So, that's one way where you're taking your core foundation that maybe was only applicable to a small target universe or a certain finite target universe, and you're broadening that base, which I think is, to me, the most exciting part of AI. So, things that we're able to do, everyone's doing some sort of chat assistant, right? How far can you push the chat assistant? So with us, we're able to create all sorts of technical policies, as an example, in terms of ways to check data quality that are specific to business cases. There's many different avenues, that we believe this technology will drive. But the core is we have a very strong foundation of data quality foundation, and the platform took years, and there was a lot of investment to be able to build up that technology. So it's really around your core strengths. How do you just make them even better? How do you deliver them in a much more seamless and thoughtful way? That's how we've been viewing specifically the new Gen AI advances that have been happening in this space.
Okay, something I like, which you mentioned, that you told, like, we are data quality company, so we always had an yes, guys, AI used to exist long before 2023. It just was only for nerds, only for nerds. And now it's for everyone. Yeah, we also, like, our company also used to work with the AI long before, and it just now, as you mentioned, right now it's the tool that possible for everyone, and the way of using that is the way easier, which is actually good, because I believe that when the technology spread out of the world, it boosts the technology faster and may create a lot of value. I personally don't believe that AI will substitute all of the jobs. It will substitute lots of the monkey jobs, those one that should be optimized, and people usually don't like to do it, and that's great. By the way, what is your opinion on that, like globally wise? Like, do you believe that one day some kind of the Jarvis, like in from Iron Man, will exist, and now we all will be without the job, or some Terminator scenarios? Like, what do you believe? Do you believe in that or not?
Yeah,
How do you see it?
I certainly hope we don't end up in a Terminator-like scenario.
Okay, hope that's already good.
Yeah, so that's, I think it's just like any other job. Technology drives, there's always change as it relates to work. Whether you're thinking about a automated machine that hammers stakes in for the railroad, right? People used to use hammers, and then they had a steam engine to do it, all the way to now, right? Just, and when you think about the different, periods of time and technology, right? There was, I would say there was this big change around how do you digitize anything, right? We're filling out a form. How do I fill out the form with in a digital way, right? Then there was, okay, now we have all this data. How do we catalog the data? How do we drive and make decisions off the data, right? With the big data trend. Now it's like, how do we do that faster? How do we make automated business decisions? There's always, when you start looking at that trend, what work has looked like just changes. It's not that work has necessarily disappeared or contracted, right? In some cases, there's more work in just different areas with different skill sets. So I think it just means that workers need to continue to evolve from a skill set perspective. I don't think anyone should hide from this technology. I think jump right in. It is for everyone from that perspective. And I think that will be really just work will naturally evolve, and the adoption curve, especially in the enterprise, is slower than people like to admit it is. So I think there is a level of it takes time. There's plenty of time for folks to eventually to learn these technologies. There will be folks that get displaced, I'm sure, as well. But I think there's going to be new opportunities for new types of work as well that ideally are more rewarding. To your point, they're less in the weeds and potentially more rewarding, hopefully with better qualities of life relative to what we have today.
Yeah, actually, I heard the rumors that Amazon right now, I mean, that's not a rumor, that's true, that Amazon released, and I forgot the name, but the courses for the AI generative, so where all of the employees supposed to, and that's the rumor, that all of the employees of Amazon supposed to learn, go through that course to know how to use the AI. So this is the way how, this is one of the good example how companies adopting that technology basically. So they making a course to be sure that everyone who worked for them know this, and that's quite cool example, I believe. Yeah. So so tell me I guess maybe last one for today. So you working with the companies and you analyzing their processes, their data, and so on. Give them top 3 advice on your opinion how to work correctly with data, or how to better prepare to start working with you tomorrow. So how they need to navigate all of they have. Top 3 advice.
Yeah, I would say the first focus is what's your core, right? What's your core business? What's the business case? I think that takes more time than anything, because I think many organizations, they want to use data and technology realistically to drive competitive advantage for their business, but really understanding from the business perspective, taking tech out of it. What's your strength in the marketplace? What do you do that's better than the rest? Understanding that clear, or hey, we want to pivot, we want to go in this direction. Understanding what that direction is. That is the number one most important factor as it relates to these types of initiatives, because if you don't have that clarified, any investment you make, whether it's time or money down the road, potentially will be wasted because you don't understand what the business value will be from that perspective. So that's the first one. The second one would be understanding that it will take longer than you will like, and prototyping. So start small, do iteration, take an iterative approach and test along the way, try to get something working. As an example, you will find out that the quality of your data will likely be lacking. You will have to figure out how to clean it up, or how to get the quality up to a level that will support your business case, going back to number one. And number 3 is don't go it alone if you don't have to. There are many partners out there. We're, of course, one partner that you may evaluate as you go in your journey with these types of initiatives. But there are many partners out there that will help to evaluate how to go through this journey. You may have existing expertise in your organization. Having outside opinions also always help and create, I would say, additional elements of speed of being able to bring a solution to market. So, you don't have to go alone if you, if there's if there's other alternatives out there, and you don't have to just go that way. So consider partnering with us to bring your solution to market quicker and faster. It's, as they say, it takes a village.
Okay, well, I need to comment on 2. That sounds like, I mean, those things that you tell, like iteratively and so on. It's like use startup approach even in case you enterprise, right? Like clean your data, make few attempts and so on, right? And the third one, I must comment that I like your approach. Like, I mean, find the right partner, even in case it's not us, right? I mean, that's cool because you like.
It could be an internal partner too. If you're in a very large organization, and you're a single business head that wants to do something, there's likely other folks in the organization that want to do it too. So it's just always better to have other folks to bounce ideas and to put your approach down and see, have someone else poke holes in it, so you're not focused in your world.
Agree. Well, and that's the great business approach. I mean, you're selling without sales actually, because now you tell like, if you need us, well, let's work. If you don't need us, well, I mean, you actually can do it by yourself, and that's great. I believe it's just the right, human being and fair approach. Okay, that was awesome to hear. Okay, now it's time for the some short and quick questions. So BMW or Mercedes?
BMW.
BMW. Nice. Agree. Completely agree. Okay. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Which part?
I like the first one.
First one. First one which is fourth one, or first one which is first one?
First one, first one.
Okay. The prequels,
From a
basically.
time series of when they were released.
Okay. Agree. Completely agree. Okay, man. We are in the same mood, So yeah, working in office or working from home?
I like both, honestly.
You know.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of both.
But how do you navigate that, by the way?
I think it's management's responsibility to put more structure in place too. When people get together, there needs to be a reason for people to get together. I love in-person interaction. I also love the flexibility of hybrid remote work, being able to have meetings with people across the world. So I think there are benefits of both, and a good strategy takes into account both.
If in case you would choose, which year you would found the company, 2012 or 2020?
2012. I have no regrets for anything we've done.
Okay. Okay. It does not suppose sounds like that, but the fair enough. Answer is fair enough. Okay, Steve, that was a pleasure. So we're trying to keep it short. Thank you for your time. And yeah, guys, in case you have any inquiry for your data problem, or better said, data solution in your company, don't hesitate to reach Steve. I'm sure he's going to help. He will be able to help you. And yeah, you will find the contact under this video in the description. And Steve, again, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.